So we are in perfect time, and so we start with a pleasure this conference. I am Renzo Pegoraro. I am the Chancellor of the Pontifical Academy for Life in Vatican, in Rome. And I am honored and I'm very glad to open this conference on ethics of engineering life. The conference was planned 2 years ago, so we had to postpone 2 times because of the pandemic of COVID-19. So I think that it's very important to thank the colleagues of Basel and Zurich and the colleagues of the Children's Hospital Bambino Gesù in Rome for this opportunity to have a really interdisciplinary discussion and dialogue among different perspectives concerning the new technologies, the new possibilities in the field of biology, medicine, and cell or gene therapies. And also for the patients to accept the invitation 2 times to come in Rome. And now we are here. And with the combination of the speakers are in presence in this room. And we have, I think, about 150 or 60 participants online. So it was a really success of interest in these topics and in this conference. So many thanks to the organizer, our institution, all speakers, and all people that are helping to manage these 2 days that we hope are interesting, but also a good opportunity to meet each other and to have time for a real useful discussion about these issues. I introduce the president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, Bishop Vincenzo Paglia. He is online because he had a problem with the COVID-19, and so he prepared the speech that you can find in the material of the conference. And I thank him to offering this welcome speech and address at the beginning of this conference. Monsignor Paglia, I think that the connection is here, perfect. The health is good now, but for prudence, it is online. Thank you.
Thank you, Monsignor Pegoraro. I am pleased to offer.
No, it disappeared. So,
it's mute.
The microphone is. Switch on the microphone. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Thank you, Monsignor Pegoraro. I am pleased to offer my very cordial greetings to all present here in Rome and to all who are joining us online. In addition, I would like to offer particular thanks to our rapporteurs for generously sharing the results of their commitment and research. The Pontifical Academy for Life is also very pleased at how the organization of this event reflects cooperation among the Academy, the Zurich-based National Centers of Competences Research, Molecular System Engineering, the University of Basel, the Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, and the Bambino Gesù Pediatric Hospital in Rome. The topic we will address is central to the Pontifical Academy's research and reflective thinking. We concentrate on the promotion of scientific technological development particularly in the area of life and health. We focus on an integral vision of the human person and of a society that is even more just. Today, our commitment is inseparable from that care for our common home in which every form of life has its proper place on the planet, as Pope Francis insists with great vigor, especially in the encyclical Laudato Si. The topics that you will address in our conference are truly important. On the one hand, they deal with the borderlands of scientific research, given that biology and genetics have gone beyond simply describing phenomena. Now, they can transform the genome of living organisms through techniques like gene editing and the production of organoids. On the other hand, they force us to deal with the interacting among science, technology, and the society that have been thoroughly tried by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is therefore most important that we promote mutual knowledge and understanding among science, ethics, and civil authority. This is a cultural task that must be studied more deeply in a manner that is both serious and credible. In fact, the ways in which the scientific community reached consensus on the value of experimental evidence reflect not just rigorous rationality, but also a necessary practical observation within a given cultural framework. The importance of culture, of a framework of symbols, beliefs, and practices that give form and substance to the significant elements of life in a community, is often overlooked. We tend to consider science as only an exercise of abstract rationality that relies on vigorous experimentation. We forget that lived experience is the implicit background of every exercise of reason, and that reason always remains anchored to the basic elements of community understanding. It is culture that shapes the conscience of individuals who are always in relationship with and responsible for each other. In this context, one cannot, and I quote Latour, down the earth, one cannot continue to believe that the facts of which scientific knowledge and the results of its application are a part stand up all by themselves without a shared world, without institutions, without a public life. End of the quotation. If we see that scientific activity is integrated into a particular culture, we must consider that integration as a necessary starting point without assuming it as a bias to be only eliminated. The important point is that between the cultures of peoples and the development of concepts, there is a circular relationship as a decisive role in arriving at a consensus on evidence and in establishing relationships with other forms of knowledge. I think this is why so-called post-normal science insists on the importance of involving as partners in dialogue persons who are outside the circle of experts. This ensures that scientific conclusions and theses will be subject to ever wider review in an approach where knowledge is co-constructed. This will not only facilitate a deeper understanding and a wider acceptance of scientific discoveries, but also an orientation of scientific technological entities toward the real needs of society and the dignity of people, those tending to counteract market greed. In this perspective, I consider the panel where you will discuss the different regions as very important. You will need to consider the way in which they approach the questions raised by new perspectives on scientific research and on the social cultural repercussions of that research. But you also need to consider what role they are called to play in clarifying the meaning of scientific discoveries. I repeat my cordial welcome to you, and I hope that these days will be fruitful for you and for the scientific community that is engaged in a research journey that will be offer real support for the whole human family. Thank you e buon lavoro.
Grazie, thank you.
Thank you very much, Archbishop Paglia, for this very interesting and also challenging introduction of yours, and also thank you for your kind welcome. Let me in return tell you how deeply thankful we all are for the possibility to hold this conference here in Rome, together with the Pontifical Academy, in this beautiful building of the Vatican and Radio Vatican. Thank you very much indeed for your hospitality. I'd also like to thank the members of the organizing committee of this conference, in particularly a few names: Renzo Pegoraro, the Chancellor of the Academy. Renzo, it's been a pleasure, as always. Thank you very much to Daniel Müller, the co-director of the NCCR Molecular Systems Engineering, Carlo Casalone from the scientific chapter of the Academy, and especially big thank to Alexander Benyak for helping us to organize this conference, which, as you know, and as Renzo said, had to unfortunately be postponed twice. Now, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would also like to welcome all of the speakers here in Rome, and of course, particularly welcome to all of our participants who will join us online for the next coming days from around the world. This conference is an outcome, it's a result of the so-called ethics think tank, which our ethics initiative at the University of Basel established 5 years ago, together with the Pontifical Academy, the Ethics Committee of the Italian National Institute of Health, and Bambino Gesù Children's Hospital here in Rome. And to this day, I must say, this think tank has been very productive. It's produced a lot of remarkable outcome. It's a great collaboration, and this is the reason why we are here today. Now, we all know that over the past years, gene therapy has played an important role in the treatment of human disease. Today, there are a lot of approved and efficient therapies out on the market, treating all kinds of conditions and helping the most vulnerable patients to improve the quality of life. What's the role of molecular systems in this context? Well, first of all, we also very humbly refer to this research as engineering life science. But it's a different story. Here, the research focuses on engineering cells, on sometimes copying their ways and developing their properties further. We engineer cellular systems by introducing entirely new and complex functions, and this at a stunning speed, which makes it so difficult for ethics to get involved and to keep up with the pace. In a poem, Literature Nobel laureate Hermann Hesse once gave a very beautiful analysis of the profound potential inherent in every beginning. Und jedem Anfang wohnt ein Zauber inne, der uns beschützt und der uns hilft zu leben. A magic dwells in each beginning, protecting us, telling us how to live. Considering the enormous progress molecular systems engineering has made over the past years, I am afraid that it is too late for that magic in our discourse. Some of the fundamental research objectives no longer can be subject to groundbreaking ethical debate which can effectively weigh pros and cons. This science is rolling, and the train has left the station. But instead of lamenting over this, we need to take the initiative, reclaim it in a way, and hop on that train, and if needed, intervene and divert it onto another track. We will indeed have to lead a consequentialist debate, weigh the prospective good and bad outcome, and make brave decisions, but I think it is worth our while. So the focus of our debate, I believe, no longer lies on the question if we should put engineered molecular or cellular constructs into human bodies, but rather on how this is going to happen and how we can agree on a catalog of binding guidelines that will secure health and well-being for the recipients of this engineering life technology. There's a lot at stake as molecular systems engineering challenges our existing concepts of human identity, of personhood, and the conditio humana per se. The fact that we are willing to offer deliberate engineering of human beings means, in consequence, that we must come to terms as to what exactly our goals are and where the limits lay. Whenever it comes to research such as this, capable of triggering paradigm shift, we need to invite society at large, as the bishop has just also pointed out, into the process of ethical reflections. We need to invite scientists, philosophers, religious leaders, politicians, artists, the young generation, the vulnerable, and other representatives and groups. In our National Research Center in Basel, we have created a framework for discourse which we call Art of Molecule. And here we invite non-scientists, particularly artists, to question and analyze, to criticize, interpret, and even to challenge our research and research goals. One of the artists we are working with, you're going to meet in the next days, and you find one of his books that we published together about a project. Michel Comte, a big welcome to you, and this project, Engineering Life and Us, we will talk about today. We believe that in the process of ethical decision-making, each stakeholder involved must own an equal share, on par, eye to eye, with each vote counting as one. Now, the scientific community plays a leading role in building this framework for societal discourse. It must open its labs and fancy new ideas which in the end may help us bridge the existing communication gap between the engineering life sciences and society at large. We urgently need to synchronize the speed of thought and provide equal access to knowledge, despite the tremendous translational efforts this will take. I'm very much looking forward to the coming 2 days and to discuss with you all these questions, and once again, a big welcome to this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Renzo and Ralph. Wonderful introductions. I think I shorten my introduction and give just the essentials. And the essential is the molecular and cellular systems engineering of life. And here you will see slides which I just have prepared, and I will sweep through to bring it to the focus to the new science which is changing society actually. And we the next slide, please. I cannot move them. Yeah. Okay. Grazie. Okay. So we will have representatives talking about gene and cell-based therapies, engineering new viruses to bring gene constructs into cells, into cellular systems like organs or in the body. And this is Luc Vandenberger coming, and then later also we will have a talk from Botan Troska on vision restoration. And this goes much further, the gene and cell-based engineering, because we will have also, now we have reprogramming of cellular systems in complex sensing and rewiring networks so that cells can perform tasks not only doable by one single genes, but there are new logics programmed into the cells so that they perform properly. And this is represented by Martin Fussenegger. And later on, we will have also a very important talk of the creator or the father of the organoid-based therapies, and that's Hans Klevers, who is also with us today. This is how to take cells from patients and to grow mini organs, and this will accelerate pharmacological and medical research. So this is the focus of our conference, because these technologies, different than other technologies, advance, will enter our society and will change the way how we perceive how medicamentation or medical treatments will be done in the future. This was, and just to name a few initiatives worldwide which have created, which are focusing on such molecular and cellular systems engineering on international levels. Here are a few named. I'm pretty sure there are more than 50 institutions doing that in the meantime, including major pharma companies. And it goes much further than these placative pictures I've shown you before, that these viruses are heavily engineered. They are partially, possibly synthetic in the meantime. Also the constructs, the genes which are brought into the humans or into the cells, they are not of human origin anymore. They're possibly even also not of biological pure origin anymore. They're heavily adapted and engineered. This is the first step which is going. And then we bring small factories or molecular factories into cells to control them how they function, and all that together we use for health control. Oh, I'm sorry, I moved the wrong slide. That was the slide here with these factories which are done actually. And our present representatives will address today how vision is restored with blind people. So that was achieved last year the first time worldwide. Metabolic disorders, how they are addressed, and immuno-oncology, how they are addressed. There are some examples, but of course the spread onto targeting diseases are going much further than the examples we highlight today, just for inspiration. And with that, I welcome everyone to the conference, and I'm happy to be here with you and to share our insights, thoughts, and concerns, and also solutions. Thank you very much.
So many thanks to all people that introduced this conference, and so I hope that you have an idea of the new challenges that we have with the very interesting results, but also questions and the need of dialogue concerning these topics at the scientific level, ethical level, of course legal level, and cultural level. So in which way we are able to offer all the perspectives included in these issues.